got 1 minute.
You're broadcasting, so yeah, we're good.
I see a turtle.
Kathy, press the 2 button. And then on that picture-in-picture, make sure it's on.
Once I got up there.
It wasn't as easy as professed.
Has
So
a
yeah,
startup
it's
statement.
almost time to
We'll do all
start.
that.
I didn't think about it until sitting.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a lag behind it. There's our line.
But Josh is going Thursday, I think.
We're actually, yeah, you can't work it.
Yeah, we got all the new stuff.
So we're not on here?
Oh, you definitely are. There's a zoom in right on this.
Look on that little screen down there, see yourself?
Is there a microphone?
All right, yeah, it's right up there.
Above there.
We got a, let's go ahead and start the February 10th Commissioner meeting with the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this morning we welcome our new camera system and audio in here. There's some complaints about not being able to hear and bad video, so Andy upgraded us. Thank you, Andy.
So we're not gonna be able to see it on the big screen?
Big pardon?
We're not gonna be able to see this on the big screen?
The big screen doesn't broadcast what's going on, but Kathy's got a little preview on hers. If you'd like to see it, I can.
Udi likes looking at himself.
If I was that handsome,
No,
I would too.
I just don't wanna pick my nose.
Glance down at the top right of Kathy's little screen right there is what's being broadcast at all times.
Duck under the desk if you gotta pick your nose.
Gotta put around one way.
Moving right along on this professional meeting. We'll get into our staff meeting. For the people at home, we normally have staff meetings on the first Monday of the month. With all the reorganizational things we had to go through at the beginning of the year, we didn't have one last month, and last week was kind of full. So we're gonna pick that up now and have all our department heads for the departments that report to the commissioners, give their monthly reports. So we will start with Ryan.
We have the river cleanup coming up on April 12th. We start at 9 a.m. down in the annex. The household hazardous waste and tire and electronic recycling, we've combined those into one event this year. That will be September 15th, I believe. September 6th, 8 to 12 out at the fairgrounds.
And then the river cleanup, how did that go? That was basically at the homeless camps?
We normally meet like down at the boat ramps and just clean up there in the annex and up and down the river right there. Depending on how many people show up, we've also went over to Strasser Park before.
What's the date on that, sorry?
April 12th. Other than that, the same old, same old. It seems like a losing battle right now with, the snow melting off and everything being dead. It seems like every road is pretty terrible, but keep chipping away.
Still like to talk to you about getting cameras up on out of the way kind of dump sites that people use and kind of monitor those. And so we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, it's good.
Sarah, how's things going in your new life?
Oh, well, my new light is good. Getting started. I have the Facebook page drafted, and I just disable that when I'm not working on it. Facebook's made a lot of changes, so I'm learning a little bit more about their meta side of things. The wellness program, I'm just kind of working through grant requirements right now. I'm working with Cody Mash. We're gonna do a 3-part yoga series. And then the third section of that is gonna have a sound bath piece to it too. So that'll be available like a lunch hour type period, February, March, and April, but we're trying to pin down those dates, so I don't have them pinned down yet. So if not, it'll be March, April, May, if we don't get February's pinned down. we're not doing on-sites this year just due to cost and, you know, they're not contracted with HealthWorks anymore. And honestly, the program's designed for people to go to the doctor and get their wellness exam. And that way that's a direct contact if you do have something wrong. Because what they were seeing is on-sites, people would come to them and get their requirement, but even if they got a bad report, they weren't following up with their doctor and addressing the problem. So right now, just kind of slow with the wellness program, promoting some local things, doing all that, and completing the grant requirements.
Good.
Sarah, do you have a timeline on when you think the Facebook will be ready to roll?
Well, we're trying to get the new picture today.
Today, right?
And then Ashley and I got to meet one time, but we have not really got to collaborate since then. So as soon as her and I get on the same page, I plan for that to go live.
Cool. Who's Ashley?
Ashley is, she's the marketing person across the street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, she's giving me some.
Yeah, we're just kind of touching base on some things and coordinating some ideas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I have it ready. I could go live anytime. I just want to get kind of a clearer picture.
Sure.
The game plan, we'll probably still be talking about that, so.
Yeah, I would like it to be live within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah, maybe let's connect this time next week and see what's left to do.
Sure. Yeah. Not really much, just some wording and making sure you guys are okay with everything, but
Cool.
yep,
Excited to see.
we're right there.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank
It'll
you.
be a new day for County Commissioners. Mark?
Good morning. We didn't have any responses in January. As far as training, we're hosting a Cameo training tomorrow and Wednesday. That's gonna be for the joint team, hazmat team from the VA and from Chillicothe. Josh and I are gonna attend it. And then we've got a couple other EMA directors from surrounding counties coming. I think somebody from Jackson County hazmat team is coming. That course is paid for through our HMEP and our LEPC grants. But what that is, it's a program that will interface with like our hazmat teams systems that they use now. It helps in hazardous material response. A big advantage too is we can hook it into their weather system, and we can actually have anticipate like plumes and events based on wind and temperature and wind speed, things like that. There's 3 different programs that we use for that, so that should be that'll be a benefit to the county hazmat team, and we can keep it on our computers as well. We're still using the 2023 EMPG money. I'm filing for a supplemental funds today that'll extend those 2023 funds through March 31st. And then for our 2024 EMPG, after I submitted our budget, they went ahead and they cut 11%. They cut the whole state 11%, so we lost $6,000 there.
Okay.
The communication trailer project, that's been officially handed off to Pike County EMA. They have some Department of Energy funds that they can put toward it. They also have some volunteers that can work on it. So last week we arranged with Meigs County EMA, and we got that transferred.
Is that gonna be a regional asset?
It's still gonna be a regional project, an asset, but they're gonna take the lead on it. They're gonna store it, so we shouldn't have to worry about that.
Okay.
We're moving forward with the mass notification system, Code Red. They lowered the price just a couple $100 based on a 3-year contract from what I presented last week. The PD was okay, or I met with the City Safety Service Director, Jeff Carmen. The city agreed to, or with the current contract, they're paying 27%. They agreed to pay continue paying the 27% for an increase. There was a couple benefits to their department also, so they were excited about switching also.
So you're sliding into that Code Red transition from what, when's?
From WINS.
Okay.
They're gonna give us about a month and a half free so they can start setting it up. getting the database built up. That'll actually, we'll actually start paying for it in April.
A lot of emergency departments in the state are switching over to Code Red. I mean, that's
Right.
pretty good.
Participation in the hazard mitigation process wasn't quite as high as one we needed and two expected, so I'm gonna reach out and make some personal contacts on that. A lot of information I can get from that and submit to the contractors. That'll just be a matter of either some face-to-face meetings or some phone calls. That's a pretty easy process. And other than that, that's all we have.
All right, let's keep the danger away. I like that.
Be ready for it when it comes.
Yeah. Josh?
You guys might want to circle back to me. I'm not sure. I've got some contract stuff to talk about, but I can go now. It doesn't matter.
Okay, we'll circle back.
Okay.
Andy?
A lot of project stuff here lately. First of the year is usually like that. We'll get the camera stuff through in case you guys got questions. But yeah, dual cameras, dual mics. You've got a mic above yourselves over there. We've got a mic up above the audience here. It's right in front of the fan between the lights. Try to kind of hide it as best I could just to keep it out of sight. What's that?
You did a good job, because I was.
Oh,
I see.
I looked through it.
At the risk of sounding like I'm trying to hide microphones in the commissioner's conference room, I'm trying to hide them a little bit just to make it a little less obtrusive.
Yeah, that's right above me. I'm not even breathing.
But no, 2 cameras, the main one's on you guys. There's a picture-in-picture of the audience, so we can't hide no matter where we are right now. Even Danny's on camera. That last seat over there will be on camera. Pretty basic setup too. The lit up little Christmas tree looking lights over there. There's one button that powers on all the equipment. There's a sound mixer hidden back in there with all the volume stuff set so that we don't accidentally bump it or change and jack the sounds up. But one little button will remotely turn that on, turn all the cameras on, turn the mixer on, turn Kathy's display monitor on. And then all we have to do is hit one little button. All the coding sets to stream to our YouTube channel. We're streaming right now live. One button on, one button off. If you guys need to go into executive session or lunch, there's a little dump out video and it will show just a little splash screen of the county logo saying, hey, we're either, away from the phone or can't get to it right now, try again later. Dumps the mic out, for executive session, and when we come back, it's turn the mic back on, turn the camera back on, and we're good. So.
Kathy looks very important over there.
We equipped to run a television studio before the end of the week.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, that's the big one. Had some stumbles. We had some bad out-of-the-box hardware, which freak of nature stuff, but we had 2 or 3 things that were just bad out of the box, so it took longer to get set up than anticipated. But up going, today's the first day of it. We're broadcasting live. Everything looks good. I'll probably watch through the day. I've had some feedback already that the audio is very clear, which I know was some of the problems that people had before, because that little webcam mic is just not designed to pick up a room like this.
So is all the new officials in and seated and okay with the technology?
Sorry, I missed a couple of words
I
in
said
there.
that all the new elected officials that took office at the beginning of the year, they're all settled in with the technology we use? And
To the new officials that I work directly with, yeah, that was gonna be a couple things I want to talk about. I know we touched base on the recorder a little bit. But yeah, so the recorders, reached out about a couple technical questions. So is the clerk. We have some direct responsibility to the title department at the service center. And of course, just in the interest of being helpful and answering tech questions, we've met with them a couple times, Brad and I, just sort of giving an overview of where things are and what are possible. And he had some questions about things that wasn't getting answers from the other group. So that's good. And again, I've talked to you guys about the recorder. I haven't heard anything new since then. I'll probably circle around this week or next just to see if he's got any of his contract information. I know that the clerk was exploring the BMV, options up there. Had some camera requests up there, gave him numbers. We're kind of in a hold until he decides or figures out whether he gets that bid or not. I know there's some talk of moving things around, so we didn't want to put a bunch of physical things in until that all got ironed out, but.
I'm pretty sure he submitted his application to the state on Friday.
Yeah, it's,
For the
you know, I
BMV.
guess the answer comes end of this month, early April, something like that, is what he was telling me, but had some suggestions for better tech in the BMV, because it's not up to my standard of what I would use or recommend, but have had some conversations about things that can be done out there, but just kind of in a hold until all that pans out.
Well, I'm really excited. He's gonna be focusing on improving the customer service in the BMV and being a lot more user-friendly for the people that come to get license and titles and whatnot.
Yeah. So yeah, that kind of dovetails into your elected official questions. I don't think I had any other new ones aside from Mr. Glass over here, which is going, you know, well, good deal.
Yeah, thank you.
You might mention that request you got from the judges too.
Oh, the audit stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have gotten this once before. I don't know, it was a couple of years ago. They asked for what they called an audit of the access control stuff, which is the door locks. And it's essentially who has access to what doors.
Okay.
It's a fairly easy report to print out. The last time we had done it, they had some questions on who people were that had access to doors that weren't relevant to their stuff. Haven't got any feedback yet. I figured that's probably coming. I think that request came in Tuesday or Wednesday last week, and we filled it the same day. But pretty easy report to put out there. It's just all the doors, all the people, and aside from people who leave, get fired that I don't get told about, the list is very much accurate. And there's probably a couple exceptions here and there for, I think when we printed off, I realized that Dwight's fob was still technically active.
Okay.
But, you know, took care of that. So yeah, they asked for that, haven't heard any more feedback on it, they sort of asked for it. I think they alluded to wanting it on an annual basis now, which again, I don't pretend to understand why, but easy enough to satisfy. So,
We should probably have a discussion sometime about building security and whatnot, instead of waiting for an accident to happen somewhere else before it triggers our memory about it.
okay.
Just get a
I don't
sense
know
of
if
how we feel.
I don't know
about
if
it.
you were aware or not, but last week, the judges did get some death threats. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the sheriff was making sure they got walked in and walked out, and then I believe they did catch the lady and arrest her.
Okay.
Where are we with, and this maybe is more of a Brad question than an Andy question, but rerouting the traffic into the courthouse on the administrative side through the recorder's office? Are we doing that
Well-
currently? Or we talked about it, I kind of lost track of where
If
it
you're
was.
interested in doing that, it's not an issue. The only thing it affects really is the recorder's office.
Yeah.
Because they've got to come through
Yeah.
there. And when the other elected official was there before the major, you know, that was, you know, Udi can tell you, that was a, it was a really contested issue.
Well, I talked to Major downstairs in the recorder's office, and I told him that we may be able to change, we may be changing the speed. Yeah, a lot more traffic running through there, but if it's gonna go to somebody else's office, you may have to put a sign up that says this, you know, go this way for the auditor's office and go this way for the treasurer's office. I talked with the sheriff deputies that work downstairs, and I said, you guys may end up with more traffic, because you'll end up, everybody's gonna try to come through that main door, because right now, we're sitting over here with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have particularly strong feelings about it, just wanted an update, but also on the topic of security, it is, you know, we wanna be accessible, I wanna be accessible, but there's also the aspect of, you know, folks coming in and out
A bit more
across the street and
Well, we
with
did
the
do
jail across the
it,
way.
we did do it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some issues, like on the days that they had jury duty, because they would bring in, you know, it could be anywhere from 5 to 25 or 45 jurors. So they were taking their time, and then, of course, all the employees, you know, are they required to come through there? So we need to probably talk about it a little bit more.
I think we can more thoroughly address that one day when we get into what the internal workings of the courthouse will be, and maybe consider a landing spot for folks who are coming in looking for this or that, rather than kind of, you know, if we do it through the recorder's office, I understand the feedback from that staff, because even if there's a sign, folks are gonna say, hey, where's the, you know, XYZ?
But it's not, I mean, it's not that, I mean, I don't know how much traffic y'all have, just, you know, just going
Yeah.
through there.
Yeah.
Because I know that if you go to the Pickaway County Courthouse, and if you're not, even if you're not law enforcement in Pickaway County, you will not go in that courthouse with a weapon on. Because when I worked at the police department, I went up there on a court case, and they told me that I couldn't take my weapon, and I told them I was not going into court. So I got back in the car and drove Chuck out.
Yeah. Well,
They get, you can't go into court, you can only go, they have one entrance to the courthouse in Pickaway County.
that's eventually probably how ours ought to be.
And that's
But-
the way ours should be.
But they don't have a lot of their other offices in their courthouse. Yeah. So, anyway, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance between community access and security. So-
Yeah, you want accessibility, but I care about the folks who work here every
Right.
single day.
Right.
Well, we were also tasked to put there's an alarm on that door. So if you go the other way, if you go through the recorder's office and try to go into that lobby, there's a really loud siren that goes off. And that was something that the judges wanted. They didn't want anybody slipping in there past the guards or anything. So there is an alarm on there that we have to remove too.
Okay, well, we'll take lesson learned off of what they're doing over there, and,
That and that slope.
yeah,
Because I took a look, I went down there.
people fall on that.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Andy?
A few things, to the point of security stuff, that was the reason for wanting the camera, you know, both ways in here. I know we've had some rowdy audiences now and again, maybe it curtails a little bit of that, knowing that they're live to the world. Aside from that, security software rollouts continuing on, exploring some VoIP options for phone systems across the road. I know Josh has had some needs that a 20-year-old phone system and an antiquated mindset in Glo Fiber does not accommodate. Just for sheer morbid curiosity, asked him for numbers on replacement of that with something more modern, and got some astronomical 5-figure quote, which was ridiculous. So exploring options. Have a package picked out through Cisco. It's about $12 a month a user, all things considered, after we bought the phones. Should give us about everything we need to do, modern, mobile. So working on rolling that out. Exploring some new options for RMM. RMM is Remote Monitoring and Management, which is a generic name for remote control software for remote support, patch management. You can get alerts for monitoring, things like that. If a system is offline that's not supposed to be, or has excessive, you know, high processor usage, or you can get alerts. It's a good way to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of everything when there's 180 devices and one me. Exploring some backup software as secondary layer. Just again, prices have come way down to the point where it's almost silly not to have it. Working through some account issues with Glo Fiber. They messed some things up royally towards the end of last year, and we're finally just figuring that out. Nothing that has an impact on today, just me yelling at their billing department. Already touched on the clerk stuff, already touched on the recorder stuff. That's about all I have.
Yeah, we don't want to go through an episode like Columbus City did with the high cybersecurity.
That's what I was about to actually say. Do
Sure.
we do any cybersecurity training?
End user training, not really. And Brad and I have talked about this before. We've, you know, had some groups give us proposals or collaborative sort of possibilities. I think realistically speaking, one, we've got a great user base. I'll say that. I've had, I think, one cybersecurity incident in 11 years, and it was, you know, someone downloaded something stupid, and it was just malware. You know, it wasn't anything sketchy, it was just pop-ups. You know, we've got a very good user base, which is a good start. But the downside gets to be is sort of any kind of mandated training, excuse me, is gonna end up falling on the department head or elected official, and trying to get elected officials to all row the same direction may not always be the easiest task. You know, oftentimes the training's not overly useful or valuable. I I tend to think for the effort that would be required to get through it, we'd have a minimal amount of, realistic impact on it. We do what we can here. Like I said, the phrase I always like to use is we keep the holes as small and as few as possible in our submarine here. And continue to make improvements like this, continue to be proactive of, making sure that we're using the right stuff, it's being implemented the right way, and that we have, a group to reach out to should there be an incident that isn't insurance affiliated or doesn't have, a different goal in the remediation process, God forbid. So try to keep the policies where they need to be. Like you're saying, it's always a mixture between open use and safe use, and that's a never-ending battle, but we do the best we can with what we have when we have it.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Thanks.
Cool.
Danny?
Yep, last week was pretty rough on the maintenance crew. We flu bug hit most of them, so we're down to one-man power there for a while, so they're all back this week.
Rough flu. I had it a couple weeks ago.
So, they're kind of still struggling, but they're back, so. But we currently have 12 work orders on the system right now on FMX, working on them. We did get the new snow plow installed on the truck, so it's here and
See, it's the truck sitting out.
Sold out back
Yeah.
this morning.
good. And it's a good sized truck with a good sized plow, so that'll help us with the airport that we need. Again, we won't let that snow build up again. That's a lesson there. Anything, I'm gonna treat it just like service center, anything 3 or 4 inches, we're gonna go, because we ain't gonna wait till the snow's over. 'Cause
Yeah, it
that-
won't snow for another 10 years now.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal, so. I did get the carpet ordered in the Judge Ayers area and the Magistrates area. We do have it scheduled to do just the office areas for right now. I've got about a month apart in between installs from both of them. And then I'm currently working on getting carpet samples for the big courtroom. That's a little different, a little harder to pick out, so we work on them here shortly to get that done, because it needs to be replaced. I mean, it's a big courtroom, and it's got a lot of rolls and trip hazards in it, so we'll get something picked out, and get you guys involved in it, and I think Judge Ayers want to be involved in it, and see what we come up with a design for that court carpet.
It's it'll take a while to get that carpet done.
Yeah, we probably will not use carpet squares up there. It'll be a rolled carpet, because it'll have pretty much a design in it for courtrooms, There's several of them out there trying to find. But, still been working with the architect on the Ross County Service Center upgrade. That was him that called me a few minutes ago. Just trying to finalize the details and get the numbers so we can get it out to bid and get it started, because that place is filthy. It's pretty bad. So, and of course, the cleaning crew's not been doing a real good job, so, if any, so. He can touch on that later base today. The Ross County Jail steel wall install has started. They have got all the beds removed from A pod and B pod in our basement. And the Ross County maintenance crew's been working on sanding and painting it. So when they were ready to go, when they get ready to reinstall them. So we're actually a little ahead of schedule, so they let us have 2 pods, so that worked out good. So got that part working good. That's really about it, because I really don't do a whole lot of special projects, end of the year and first of the year, and then there's a lot of them just starting up. So service center really needs to be pushed harder. It's bad. I did get the quote from the theater people about the sound systems and stuff. He come up from really good ideas, so we got that put in there, that piece with big screens, surround speakers, and you can actually split it off of 4 different things, and then actually a projection screen can come down and you can have all 4 meeting rooms. And that big projection screen back by the kitchen area, come down out of the ceiling.
Right.
So that was a pretty nice idea for when you have big
Whole new
public meetings.
capability.
Yeah. So, but hopefully, by next month this time, I'm hoping to have everything to you guys so we can review it and get started, put it out to bid, because it needs it bad.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, and I think for us, in our conversations about how we think about county property and assets, what we do with the bank building and well, all of that, to me, the service center is the most upfront priority. We've got active offices in there, and it's, like you said, it's a match. It's just not adequate for a modern working environment, even for those offices that are there now. I've heard that feedback from some of them, so I'd like to get that.
It's been a while since we had the last episode.
The big problem that we're gonna have out there, you know, they schedule the meetings so far out, you know. What are we gonna do with them people? I've got a kind of idea, and I can go down over the hill and ask. I can ask Steve Butts about renting the old Big Bear building and have sections in there where they can still have meetings, because as of what I heard, he still was heating and cooling that at a maintained temperature, so it's still hasn't really got turned completely off. But I don't know, you know, I don't know where to put them, or just tell them they can't come out there.
How far out does it get scheduled?
They're on my calendar clear to December already.
We may want to talk about putting, next month, when you've got things kind of more figured out, putting a hold on that for some point in time.
I think that's a good idea, because
Just say, this is, so everybody knows, this is scheduling, this is when this is gonna be done. We can't guarantee it's gonna be available from however many months that project will be underway.
As soon as we get the quotes in, we'll know how long and
Yeah.
when.
You talking about the service center?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna let them work during the day, or make them work second shift, and they can still use the meeting rooms during the day, but, you know, once we tear into the meeting rooms, I guess we'll have to put a schedule together with the architect and see how long it thinks it's gonna take us to get it done, and that gives us an idea of how far we gotta move people around.
Yeah, we're looking at relocations, when the LCMD building, whatever happens there. You know, you got the prosecutor's office, all of our offices on this side of the courthouse.
Yes.
That have to go somewhere as well, so we're lining some things up and looking at different options for that right now, so we'll just feather that in with the
Yeah.
service center.
I hope to have, I'm gonna work on it pretty hard. I hope to get that answered by next meeting. We can, you know, next 3 or 4 weeks from now, hopefully get good answers.
Yeah.
Danny, you might know, or maybe Brad, is there like a process, someone was mentioning this to me, that the federal government uses for grading and relocating and moving federal offices? And how often do they review that? Because it's just, with the new administration, we've got FSA out there and some other USDA offices, and there's talk of all sorts of
Well, the only time we've seen it happen in the past has been when the contracts expire. It's really never mattered when there was a change in administrations. It never has. Now, that's not to say it won't happen this time.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. How long is the existing contract? How much?
I have, each one of those is different. I mean, the biggest federal one in there is the Farm Service Agency and the USDA. Those are the 2 federals I think that we have in there. There's not another one, is there?
I think there's one more down there, FSA.
FSA, that's the
Yeah.
Farm Service Agency, and the USDA.
Yeah.
Those are the 2.
Okay, yeah, I just wondered that, 'cause they've got a pretty good presence here, right?
Well, it's nice having, you know, you got Ross Soil and Water, you
Yeah.
got FSA, and then you got USDA all in that one end, so that if farm folks have a question, they can go right in there and get them, you know, get all those answers. That's why it's always been a push to keep, you know, the same way with the state. You got the BMV, you got the title, and you got the driver's exam station. You know, there was, before we remodeled that, there was talk about them leaving. And we didn't want to see them out in another mall somewhere where you had to, people in the community had to drive 3 different places to get, you know, what they need as far as vehicles go, so. That's how it's worked in the past. How it'll go forward, I can't say.
Okay, cool. Thanks, I was
Yes.
just wondering that. Thank you.
That's pretty much it for me.
That's it? Okay. Devin, Ken?
Yeah, ours won't be as long this time.
Yeah, right.
I gotta stop.
You and Andy kind of battle back and forth.
Hey, I'm usually 30 seconds, so you finally started asking me questions.
So our comprehensive plan, so the open house on January 30th was a big success. We had a little over 80 individuals show up to that, which was great in person. We've had almost 700 responses to our online survey. I actually am going to forward you a report on that.
Good.
You'll have that here later today. We do have, if you check out our Ross County Planning and Development Department website, we've switched out on the face of the page. Now you can go to our virtual open house. So people can actually go participate in a virtual open house on their computer. So things are moving along nicely with that. Just want to kind of announce that our next open house will be Monday, February 24th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Frankfort at the Presbyterian Church on 42 Springfield Street. And then on Wednesday, February 26th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. there at the Green Township Training Center on Kingston-Adelphi Road. And then on February 27th, Village of Bainbridge, we will be at the Paint Valley Elementary School in their cafeteria. Again, from 4 to 7. So that's this month's schedule for open houses. And then we'll have more open houses scheduled for March.
Where's the one in Bainbridge?
Bainbridge will be the elementary cafeteria. So you'll have to actually come off of Dill Road for that one, not the main entrance.
Do you have all those dates on your website?
Yes, it's all on.
Once, Sarah, that would be a good thing
Yeah,
for us
it's
to
on- it's
know
on that right
to
now.
get that.
Yeah, it's on our homepage.
Drive folks to the survey and make them know about their local events.
So open house is going well. ACGP update. One of my favorite projects, UNESCO. We should get final approval from National Park Service in March. We've already gone through most of the initial hurdles with various review boards. March is the last one. So basically our design development documents are with National Park Service, and the March meeting should be basically hopefully a rubber stamp for Chris Alford, our National Park Service rep. So that's moving along nicely. We're actually going through the finalizing the CMAR process. We will have a recommendation for the Board of Commissioners probably next week or the week after on the selection of a construction manager at risk for that project.
Sorry, which project?
All the UNESCO sites. And sure.
When's the next architectural engineering design meeting with Yuck Tangi?
I haven't seen anything.
They haven't scheduled it yet.
No, I think,
Wanted to get ours out of the way first.
yeah. So, I mean, it's moving along at a decent pace. I think we just need to keep up with it.
Yeah. I'm not concerned about the progress on that. I think you guys, you and the city are managing that well. It's just, I'm sure Jim and Jack have gotten the same feedback. I mean, we get feedback about concerns about, not necessarily concerns, a lot of positive things, but there are voices out there around how the park is gonna be, and just, I know the city was, did they do a meeting, an open meeting last month or in December?
In December.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still swinging away at that.
Yeah, swinging away.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually, I'll have, what I need to see if I can arrange is to have them come in and do an update with you.
that would be very good.
Okay, Frankfort, Bainbridge, moving along nicely. I really like the pocket park being designed there in the village of Bainbridge. It's going to be a Veterans Memorial type park. Really neat designs for it. They're going to honor all branches of service. I think they've sent you some drawings on that, some concepts. And, check it out. They made a little minor adjustment the other day in the meeting, but really good project. And that is all I have. Kim has some updates.
Yeah, I'll give you an update on the ACGP finances. To date, we've spent around 3.8 million, with the top 3 projects that have expense as the Hawking Logan Streetscape, Yaptangi Park, and Monroe Theater. So 3.8 of the 154 million has been expensed. And then interest we've received year-to-date is around 758,000, with receiving 133 in January. And then in addition to working on ACGP and comp plan, I'm working with the sheriff's office on the capital improvements funding project. And we have some estimates on a couple parts of the projects and what it's gonna cost. So I should get final estimates probably this week, and then it's due on March 3rd. So we'll have that application for funding submitted.
On the comp plan, and we might have mentioned this a little bit during focus groups and things, but is Josh and the building department team plugged into that as well?
They can be, yeah.
I think it'd be good just to make sure that there's at least some sort of connection to what we're doing early stage, looking at baseline stuff. And, you know, our regulatory permitting is all a part of the end user experience for whether it's a housing developer or a commercial developer, or,
Sure.
you know, just a resource for Tammy and your teams too, so I think that'd be good.
We'll send you all the invites.
You know where to find me.
That's pretty close.
But, by the way, we are looking for some gap funding for Village of Bainbridge for their water line project. Got one other source, we don't actually think it's going to be a pot of funds that we can actually access for it, but we're gonna try anyways. But we need to locate about $1 million in gap funding to get this phase 1 done. We're trying to arrange it so that the water lines are done simultaneous with our project. It makes a lot of sense. But if we can't, then we'll have to proceed with the ACGP element regardless.
Yeah, that's on the timetable.
Yeah, we're trying to coordinate this, get it done. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree, if that could work out. We had some folks from Frenchtown about sanitary sewer here a few weeks ago, and got another follow-up call. I don't know if we had plugged you guys into that, but, you know, I know your list of grant research is long and probably growing, but if there's money out there that exists to help communities or groups like that, that would be a helpful thing to know if there's an opportunity out there to direct those folks toward. And more likely, I think the county wouldn't be the applicant on something like that. It'd belong with the township, but I got a call with the guy earlier this morning just about they're interested, they've got a problem and they're looking for solutions, and I don't know that we're the ones who are going to solve the problem, but I'd like to be able to, if we know of something, let them know about it, so.
Yeah, their wells are drying up and their septic tanks are filling up, so.
Not a good combo.
It's good for you.
That's all for us.
That's it?
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you.
Probably need a planning grant for that too, because I have no idea what that would cost.
That's the first step, is just,
Yeah.
what is identifying the first step. I think that's where
Yeah.
they could benefit the most, and I don't know the answer. Where does anybody start with that?
And also, I think you need to get over the trustees, because that's it's gonna be up to the trustees to
Well, the feedback I got was that they did meet with the trustees, and the trustees said, why are you guys meeting with us? So that's all secondhand. but-
because the trustees is the one who's, Frenchtown is just like Roxaville, it's really it's not a village, it's just a group of houses together, and it's run by the township.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all about funding. If we can help out with the funding,
Right.
find a grant or something, I'm sure the township trustees would be agreeable to do something.
We'll start by delineating number of households in that area.
They
And,
mentioned how many were in there. Do you remember?
Can't remember how many there were.
define the area, and then we'll look at closest service provider.
Now, if we do some with Camp Sherman Park in that area too, we're gonna have to have plumb services in there, restrooms and whatnot.
Were you in here when we had that conversation? Were you here when we had that conversation with them? Well, Kim's kind of familiar because she sat in on the other sewer project, but there is a 30-inch line that runs from the prison all the way down to the CCI. Now, whether or not they'd be willing to take, you know, more, that's a whole MOU discussion.
Is that the one in the the field across from Yoda? You can see all the risers sticking up? Is that?
Well, that's part of it. That comes from the old dairy farm, and it runs down that road into that 30-inch pipe. But there's also a city lift station right across from the Camp Sherman Park on 104.
Yeah, the infrastructure, from our understanding, is there. It's a question of how do they get access to it and build out the last mile infrastructure to connect with them. And not even the last mile, but, you know, the distribution end of it. But I think the first step is just knowing what the first step is.
Yeah. We'd have to check out what kind of shape the existing line's in and just get a starting point.
Long down the road.
Cool, thank you.
All right, Josh?
All right, I got a lot of stuff to talk about, try to make it brief. Lauren sent you guys the, our stats, so I won't go through those because you already have them. We been a little out of sorts recently with some illnesses, and David welcomed the new baby. Kind of ties in with what Andy was talking about with the phone service. There've been some days when hasn't really been anybody in our office because I needed to be out on the job sites doing inspections and that sort of thing. You know, we've previously talked about having Jill come back part-time. Wondered what that would look like as far as having somebody available, maybe not even Jill, but just somebody available for those fill-ins, those unexpected absences, that sort of thing. So I don't know if, you know, if we would need to have a contract with her or whoever, or
We'd be willing to look at it, I think. You know, with getting more business outside the county, that lowers the responsibility of the Ross County taxpayers to support your department, because you're getting outside funding.
Correct.
So it's a unique situation that would lend itself to us giving, you know, serious, fairly easy consideration to that.
Okay, and that ties into just what you said, more business outside of the county. We picked up Wellston, and we've issued our first permit down there. Haven't done the inspections or anything yet, but it is starting to ramp up. Had an interesting call from a gentleman that I know in Greenfield a couple Saturday mornings ago. He had a furnace situation. Wanted to know some options for replacement. And of course, I start the conversation with, I'm not your authority having jurisdiction right now, but I'll answer your questions. So I answer the questions, and he then knows what his options are, goes to the building authority that Greenfield is using now, which is National Inspection Corporation out of Dayton area, I believe. They wouldn't even talk to him about the options. It was basically, we'll give you a permit, and if it's wrong, you deal with the field inspector. So this gentleman then went to the Greenfield Council meeting, and it was a unanimous decision to get rid of National Inspection Corporation and reach out to us and see if we would be willing to come back, and I would be more than willing to take them on. Not a big jurisdiction really, not a ton of activity, maybe a couple half days a week over there, sort of thing. You know, in the past we kind of broke ties because of new management over there, and that new management wanted a percentage of our permit fees. That's not something we do for anybody else. We strictly work for permit fees, and if the village needs something, we just help them out. So basically wanted permission to move forward with that contract. I sent them the templates and everything, but And I know the process is to get things signed off on Greenfield's end and then go through the prosecutor and then to you guys, but, I didn't want a repeat of, what happened a few months ago, so I just wanted to have a conversation about that first. And, you know, we've previously talked about Hillsborough as well. I don't know that that's a fit, but they did reach out to me again on Friday. Said that,
It's also gonna be a factor of your load to be able to carry it.
right, yeah, I don't know that we can pick that one up with, the existing resources that we have. So,
Understanding that we don't need a new building code in the county,
right.
that the 2006 code is adequate.
Yeah, those agreements are still there, I mean.
Yeah. I don't see any, you know, we're not gonna do any rocking of the boat, that's for sure.
Right.
Because that gets misconstrued into zoning codes, and it
Yeah.
all gets thrown in the same bucket, and they should be in separate buckets, but, yeah, I don't particularly wanna go there again either.
No, that was not.
We learned some lessons from that.
But absolutely. It caused me to slow things down and be a little more deliberate with seeing things through instead of just here, I need this signed kind of thing.
I think it made us force ourselves to explain ourselves a little bit better, which is why we having Sarah do new work now, but, and being on TV.
Sure.
But, yeah, we don't want any misunderstandings again.
Okay.
So whatever comes of that, we need a first look at it before we do anything public or we make any commitments to Greenfield.
Absolutely. I mean, right now, it's just, they already have a building department. We would just simply operate it like we do all the other departments, say, Waverly, Pike County, that sort of thing. Their departments just basically exist only on paper.
Well, we'll have separate sessions on camera here for everybody to listen to and know exactly what we're talking about, what we intend,
Okay.
before we make any steps.
What's the revenue like from the state? Because we obviously are Ross County Building Department, but you have contracts, or we have contracts with Jackson, Wellston, Highland County, Fayette County. Considering Greenfield, the city of Chillicothe, are there any other ones that I'm missing?
Well, Lauren put together some stats, and we can send those to you. I think that was late last year. That'll give you a lot of information. I don't have those numbers memorized. I can tell you that we permitted about $191.5 million last year worth of work, so we stay pretty busy, but there's still room to pick up some other things. But I kind of illustrated for Commissioner Everson in those stats that without those outside jurisdictions, it would be a losing venture. I mean, so just to make sure I'm understanding, when it comes to Greenfield, I get the contract signed by them, bring it over here for discussion. Okay. So we need to schedule a separate appointment with you guys at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just be.
I think we need to reach the prosecutor's office first.
Right.
Let Greenfield, if Greenfield's gonna sign, and then let the prosecutor, that way he can take a look at it and find out, and then you could bring it to us.
Right.
And maybe, I'll look to you guys on stepwise for this, but we probably ought to have, and that's the reason I asked the question of what the revenue looks like. And this is part of me being the new guy, but I want to make sure that we're putting our duty on Ross County and projects specific to Ross County first before we continue to add additional jurisdictions. I think it's a great opportunity and we're providing not only a service and a resource to neighboring communities, but if it's a revenue positive thing that allows your department to operate more self-sufficiently, that's a good thing. But having a conversation about mission creep and what we want this to look like long-term is probably due.
The city of Chillicothe has their own person, building inspector, going right now, right?
They have a building official. He has really no staff, so he doesn't have a David, he doesn't have an inspector. He's doing double duty, he's in the office, he's in the field like I am. He does not have an electrical certification or plumbing certification, so he's outsourced plumbing to the health district just like we do. And we're still doing all of his electrical inspections, so.
But that's a load off you versus what it used to be.
It is.
So we do have some capacity there.
And we do anticipate, Brandon, Gill was his name, we do anticipate Brandon taking commercial back from us, Chillicothe's commercial inspections back from us eventually. He has indicated that he would like to work closely with us to continue to be their backup and to back us up as well, which I like. I mean, I've used our backup inspector one time in 2 years, so not something that has to happen frequently. You know, David and I generally can back each other up pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done some deep dives and met with folks to better understand some things. I got one coming up with JFS, but I might reach out to you just to, I don't want to take up a bunch of time during a meeting, but just understand kind of point A, point B, all the way to the end, what the process looks like for Ross County and the surrounding ones. So maybe I'll send you an email or sure you or David or whoever.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more than willing to walk you through what we do, so.
Cool. Perfect. Very good. Anything else, Josh?
No, nothing really noteworthy.
Okay. All right, anybody else have anything?
Did Juanita say she wasn't?
She said she should tell us she wanted to come.
I think she's on vacation, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she is. 12th through the 18th.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that meeting when we had that discussion, but we might follow up and see like how that feedback is taken out. I thought Commissioner Lowe did a good job. I don't want people, like, obviously they have to enforce the law, but I want them to be safe. When you read those reports, it felt, though they were obviously in a scary situation, and we want to do what we can to avoid that in the future.
I just, as you said, read the reports, and they put their, part of it was putting themselves in that spot.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to.
To the limit that they push the issue is where they put themselves in danger.
And good collaboration with local law enforcement that's equipped to
Yeah.
de-escalate, you've got to have some pretty intense training for those
I'm not
situations.
interested in giving them body armor and pistols. It's not gonna do that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, gang. Appreciate it. Have a good week.
Good stuff. I got my computer. You good, Tom?
Yeah, I gotta run across the road to help Ryan up, and it's actually easier to do over here, so.
Hey, I did not even see you sitting over there, I'm sorry.
Incognito.
I know,
Buried
right?
in my laptop.
Yeah.
It may not be open, I'll find out.
Yeah, I don't like having one out, so we got one out. All right, good to see you, buddy.
Okay. The commissioner's website, right?
Yeah.
Let me know how it's going over there.
Or the county start page, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe the B and B is gonna try to take the court's office, try to take B and B back.
And they're back and calling.
To run it off that thing. It may be moving, something in that area may be moving.
I heard you guys briefly mention it last week.
You guys, were you guys upstairs? You guys, I mean, if I didn't work for the county, I couldn't tell you what you guys' office was, what's
Nobody
the.
can. FedEx, UPS, and the United States Postal Office.
And they were downstairs and locked in the center.
I could make the whole thing work. I really could. But anyways, I heard you guys say something about possibly.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out where we're gonna, that's just like, that space where you're at now is not, in my opinion, not working. Because, it's not handicap access. I mean, it's just, we'll figure something out.
But
We
if
got
any of you guys wanted the
Thanks.
easy seats up there.
I would have, oh,
What's your phone number?
740-449. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? We're gonna wait till 10 o'clock in case the rest wants to be here. Mark, leave that open, please. Thanks. We got 1 minute.
What's your name?
That, football field might be a good place for him.
Where?
Football. There's a lot more handicapped accessible there than,
Then English.
honestly, we're not handicapped accessible.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chairlift helps.
Yeah. It's still not adequate, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome to come to our facility at any time.
All right, 10 o'clock. So whoever's speaking can speak. Or what do you call it? Did we?
You called this,
Oh,
so
we called
we're,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know where to start yet.
Okay. I guess we'll start out with the original agreement that we had with the commissioners and Committee for the Elderly. That was signed back in 2000, I think originally 2014 was
July.
July.
1988 was the first one.
Yeah, I thought it went back longer than that. And it lists a number of different, commitments that between the two organizations, the county commissioners and the Committee for the Elderly, reporting and things like that, that I don't, you have two relatively new guys here. Udi's got one term under his belt, so this was an entirely different set of commissioners that made this arrangement with the Committee for the Elderly. But
Right.
I don't think we've seen any of the reports that were signed up to back in 1988 and growing up to our last contract in 2014. So we're just kind of calling whoever in to get updated on that and see, that we have a fair agreement that's lived up to.
Right, like you said, you've not worked with us and we've not worked with you. Previously, in commission management, we were just asked to have the budget to the commissioners by June the 1st, which Janet always makes sure that we do. I give you an annual levy inventory. And then we give you a copy of our financial audit that we pay for to a financial institution that does an audit on our books.
Through your,
Yes.
yeah. The, what I've been, that's the first one of those I've ever seen.
Oh, we send it every year.
They're gonna have every
We
month.
used to get it earlier. They used to try to have it to us by May 1st. This year, we got it November, December, it was late.
Okay, who do you send that to over here?
Commissioners, we send one to the commissioner's office and one to the auditor's office.
Auditor's office? Have you been getting these, Joe?
What we have downstairs is kind of spotty. We do have documents over the years, but there doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason to it, which I think is what prompted the conversation last year, is that the commissioners and I were just wanting to get a grip on what the agreements are, what the expectations that the senior center does with the levy money are, and how the commissioners can really kind of take a more hands-on approach to whatever degree that they want to, because of the fact that the commissioners are the levying authority for the senior center.
Yeah,
So
and I think just where it came up on my radar at first was the we had a person from Adelphia or Lauraville or something that was not getting serviced anymore. And that's where I first started asking questions about it as commissioner. So that's really what kind of spurred this, and when I started looking back, I was under the impression that there were no reports coming in or any kind of communication.
They have always been sent, even when I was EEO and Janet was the bookkeeper. We always sent them to these addresses here. We can hand deliver them if that is more appropriate, to make sure that you're getting them.
Yeah, I'll chime in here real quick. First of all, thank you guys for coming in and I think as Jack said, kind of the reason before I was even elected, the questions I had were more related to the services and the satellite offices that you guys used to manage in Adelphi and in Bainbridge. And I heard some feedback about that from residents, and that's, I think, a topic in and of itself we can have maybe later. What led to this conversation, I think, as Commissioner Everson said, is it seems that there's not alignment between what this contract states and what we've received. And I know the auditor Leonard reached out sometime last year and requested some documentation that hadn't been submitted. To his knowledge, I've still yet to see any of the financial audits that were requested. So if it's as simple as an email, maybe the wrong email address or something like that, maybe that's the case. But I think where we're at now is recognizing that this is a 5-year-old document, actually a 10-year-old document.
Right.
And there's some questions as to if everything in here is currently being met. When you go through not just the budget and the audit and the financial aspects of it, it's a pretty significant list. It speaks about a 5-year plan, which would have been completed probably 5 years ago by now. We have a really important duty of making sure that there's oversight on these tax dollars. We through the levy, the citizens and voters of Ross County have said this is an important thing. Care for seniors, having resources for seniors is an important thing, but we also have to maintain oversight on that. So what I would like to see as quickly as you can provide it, whether it's up to you, you can hand deliver it, you can send it to my direct email, but I would like to see the budget, the items under budget, audit, and financial 2.02, exhibit 1 through exhibit A through exhibit G. I would like to see those for every year since this was enacted. Because we have a duty to make sure that there's oversight on all of this, and we're under a, maybe this wasn't something that has been done in the past, but it's something I think that needs to now continue. That would be personally my takeaway from this meeting, would be receiving those items.
No,
They said, we're all new working with each other, and you just let us know what you want and when you want it, and it'll be there.
But it's in the contract you guys signed. We shouldn't have to ask you for it. It's in this contract.
Yeah, well, we've been sending the audits what the other commissioners were asking for, and Steve Neal, when he was here, well, he always took it down to him, and I just, we can give you anything you want, because it's.
What I want to make sure is that you're not sitting there taking this on a chin. We appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
And your valuable service to seniors. I'm 70 years old, so I certainly have a front door seat of being able to appreciate this. But for some reason, the communication at least hasn't been making it to me, and I don't know where that got fumbled or not. But if you've been giving it every year and you seem willing to go back and honor Commissioner Glass's request to see it for the past years. We'll start there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't want you to get the impression this is a browbeating, but, you know, we do have a fiscal responsibility to taxpayers here that
We do too.
seemingly up
We do
until
too.
last
Yes.
Friday was the first time I ever got the audit from Uri on 2024. And that was the first document I had seen that related to this. Anyway, so let's just clean the communication pipe out and, you know, if we have any other questions, then we'll be sure and give you a call. And
That was actually the 2023 audit that we didn't get
that's
until
true,
November.
it wasn't 2023.
Yeah.
But 2024 is underway right now and look forward to that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, just to reiterate Commissioner Everson's point, this is not meant to be a browbeating, but from my standpoint, when we go back and look for these items and they're not there, it raises questions, and that's not to you. You guys appreciate, it's not to you personally, I would say, but now the easy fix is, let's make sure what's been done in the past is the way that it's supposed to have been done, and moving forward, that we stay on the same page. And I'm glad to give you my contact information and Kathy's.
Do you want to report monthly, or,
That's part of the agreement, I think.
okay,
Yeah.
that can be done.
Okay. Just want to work closer and
Sure.
put any, you know, because the advantage I was sitting at was there was no communication since 2014, if ever. And that's where I started. So that's why we wanted to call you in and get your side of the story, first of all, in all fairness. And it seems like you have been sending the reports in. So that eases some of my concern right there at the beginning. So how those reports lead out, I did go over the 23 budget for the audit. And I have a couple questions in there, but still that was from the vantage point of, is this the first bit of information that we're getting from you? And from what you were telling me, it isn't. And I think we have some affirmation from the auditor that he has been getting the information.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll just, we'll go over that and you give us the audits from the past, as Commissioner Glass has asked for, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and I was, we've got some time left, so
How far back do you want the audits?
I might ask Auditor Leonard, do we have record of?
I think, my opinion is that the commissioners should ask for every year dating back to when this contract was signed.
That-
'Cause like I
that
said,
was
what I
my-
have downstairs is very spotty. I don't know if that's a matter of record keeping downstairs over the last 10
Must have
years or
been,
what.
because we've always had them to you.
Yeah, and that's fine. I want to be reasonable about requesting that information. I recognize you've now got 10 years worth of these. Doesn't have to be here tomorrow, but
Well,
making
I've
sure
got
that
it
we,
in my
making sure that we can go back and look to make sure that that those do exist and that they're received, so that we can back record them is important. And I recognize also there's some time between, but I think it would be good, we hold ourselves collectively, both the organization and the commissioners, to what is in this contract verbatim, and that includes the monthly reporting, basically all of those exhibits. You know, I read through that contract, and my first instinct was, darn, I don't think that we have any of this stuff, and I don't even know that, you know, now that 10 years has elapsed without the commissioners even expecting or anticipating that, you know, that is our opportunity now to kind of get back on the same page and understand where we are moving forward. I did want to ask, since we do have time, what is the direction or steps, reasons, whatever, behind closing Adelphi's service center and Bainbridge Service Center? And are there conversations to consider reopening those, or I guess what was the justification or reasons why those had to be closed?
Well, they were closed during COVID. And then, that time lapsed their food licenses. We have had conversation with Bainbridge. That has been since the meeting that Mr. Lanier was at, and I think Udi. In their conversation now, they wish to be independent. They want to have their own food license because they want to sell food for a profit, which we cannot do with the grant money that we receive. So I'm not sure how we'll go about trying to commingle that if they want to have a service day, but right now they're trying to meet the obligations of the health department.
In Bainbridge,
Yes.
what about Adelphi?
Well, we have not had any conversation with them. I have been instructed by my board not to have conversations with Libby Spears, or my attorney has also told me not to. So she's verbally attacked my board, she's verbally attacked me on Facebook and social media. I understand that they're upset that their services are not there, but COVID changed everything for everyone. Meal prices are higher. We have finally gotten health insurance for our employees. That's now $9,000 a month for people to have insurance. The board was generous enough during COVID to give people a nice raise, and they haven't had one since. All of those things impacted our budget, and it is just not feasible to reopen that with the staff that we were giving them, the rent they had asked for, and all the expenses we were paying, because we were providing everything. Toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, plus extra mileage and extra time for a driver to be in that area. So it was just,
Is somebody delivering meals out that way?
yes, sir.
If somebody's delivering meals out that way, and the mayor of the village is letting them use the village hall for free, couldn't you just, let's say if they have 10 people gonna meet there for lunch, couldn't you take 10 extra meals with you and drop them off at the?
Well, no, we can't, because we are also now regulated by the Ohio Department of Agriculture. Jennifer Nolan does an inspection annually at our facility. The only meals that can go out the door have to go to an individual's home. They can't go to a congregate site in a packaged container. And she basically addressed that specifically at her last visit just a couple months ago. So what we send to Londonderry when they're open, they're all volunteers. They don't charge, they don't ask for rent or anything. Their food is taken in bulk, and their volunteers serve it. They're all trained, and they're all ServSafe certified. So that is a different situation than what Adelphi was expecting.
Is that something that might be able to work for Adelphi, that kind of a system? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you have volunteers in Londonderry, are there people in Adelphi who would be willing to do the same?
That's the board's decision.
That's whose decision?
The board.
Wouldn't it be your responsibility also as a director to try to steer that, to get
Yes.
more seniors involved?
Yes, and we've had this discussion multiple times. I think as a Ross County taxpayer, people are not going to be very happy if we're doing services for people who don't live in Ross County.
But you really can't say that.
Well, that's
You
true.
really can't say that there's,
That's true.
but they are doing services for residents of Ross County in that Adelphi area.
We are, yes.
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 One or two from
First of
Hocking
all-
County is probably not gonna, one or two individuals from another county coming in to eat at Adelphi is probably not gonna put a damper on what you guys do. Am I right?
Well.
Am I right, yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that's not gonna put a damper
But
on.
at the meeting, the mayor of Adelphi had mentioned that he could possibly ask the committee in their area if we could use the building for free, and I asked for it in writing, and I never did get anything. that we wouldn't be asked for rent, and I didn't receive anything from him. To know that that was off the table, because they were charging us rent when it was open before COVID.
I'm sure he'd be willing to send that email. Hootie and I were sitting with him. I
That's
think
what I said, I was sitting right there with you.
I think Josh should send that email if that's what you need.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to get verbally attacked, trust me, I know what that's like. All three of us probably do. I think the driving concern around that is, you know, Ross County has a geographical challenge in the sense of its size, and there's 700 square miles. It takes you over an hour to drive from one end to another, and Adelphi is a good half hour away from Chillicothe. The folks who live, I live out that way myself, and from my perspective, I want there to be adequate services for folks when they, you know, when there's a demand for it.
Okay.
So it's not so much about the where or sorry, not so much about the how, but it's that feeling of there are folks who were using something. If there's budgetary constraints, if there are aspects of those agreements, whether it be in Adelphi, Londonderry, Bainbridge, wherever, I think we can help you work through those, be a resource for you if those come up. But the feedback that I've received from residents in Adelphi and Bainbridge is that they miss having those services, and I recognize things changed during COVID, but a lot of things have changed since COVID as well. So that's probably why in this contract there was the aspect of long-term planning, 5-year strategic plan. Is the planning aspect something that you continue beyond just the, because this requested a 5-year plan, but that was dated in 2014, so that would put it 2018. Has there since been another plan, or did that 2018 plan get published?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What-
And it's something that we talk about at almost every meeting.
Your last
Yeah.
strategic.
Yeah.
But we never got a copy of it.
Maybe we did. We don't have it, but we can.
Right.
That'll be part of what they're gonna bring.
We'll get it for you.
That's what I'm saying, is that you guys you're not sure what you've gotten over the years because you weren't here. I don't know what the auditor's office has gotten over the years because I wasn't there. I think a fresh start of, okay, here's everything we've got pursuant to the terms of this contract.
And then the next step, once we have those, is referring to what that plan that you said that you guys discuss a lot, is what's the next plan following that plan? You know, what's the next step and what direction are we going? And personally, I'd like to see some sort of way to address the geographical challenges for our elderly community who live further away from Chillicothe, whether that's being adequately provided by your current service, which is a direct meal delivery, or maybe it's something more than that. Maybe it's something less than what has been done in the past, but more than what's being done now. So that really, I think, is what drove the beginning of this interaction, and then backing into the fact that then we realized we don't have, I recognize that you've sent it, but I don't have a record of it, none of us do, and the auditor says most of what he has is missing several years between when they were and were submitted.
It's been here, so.
You know, that line
And
is
delivered
sitting-
it most years.
And just kind of de-escalating this a little bit, because we obviously don't have the information that you provide. And once we have the information, we'll have an intelligent vantage point to discuss anything that are of concern to us. You know, having the outlying communities that we're not getting the whole get-togethers with the meals and everything, I got the impression from sitting in that meeting personally, and you were there too, Udi, that it wasn't a matter of food, it was a matter of fellowship. And that's what they were missing. So, you know, as you get older in life and you have friends and family that go by the wayside, and it gets lonely, and that fellowship's important. So that was a motivating force for me, but I think we just need to call a timeout here, evaluate the information that we haven't seen, and we'll be in a better situation to talk about, going forward.
Yeah, and I don't think, again, I know I'm asking a lot of questions. It's not from a place of us trying to grill you or put anyone on the board on the spot or anything like that. I think what we've recognized, not only with the contract, but just the fact that there hasn't been good communication between your organization that's responsible for tax spending, that we are responsible for the oversight part. So I think this is a good conversation actually, because we can start to set expectations, and you set expectations to us around what's the direction, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities and those things, and have it be much more collaborative than what's been perhaps with previous boards of commission.
And like I said, if there's something you want differently or in a different way, all you have to do is let us know.
Perfect. Yeah.
Jody, do we have a set number that we require to eat lunch there?
For area agency to
For like
call it
a-
a site, it's supposed to be 15.
15?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I would say the same to you if there's things that you need from us. And we can help a lot with connecting other governmental agencies, whether it's the area agency on aging or, health department locally, state departments.
We have great connections with those
Yeah, we do
individuals.
that.
So we're
Oh, well, I'm
great.
sure you do, but if you need something with some force behind it, or someone to ask those questions that maybe you're not getting the answers that you would otherwise want to get, we can help with all of that.
Any questions? I mean, it's kind of been.
No, I don't have any questions. Can I leave you with some information so you can know a little bit about us?
Yeah.
I know you're new.
These other two may not like to put people on the spot, but I'll put you on the spot. I don't know what's wrong with that.
This is just a
How much carryover did you guys have?
This is,
Last
anybody
year,
we did
this year.
services for last year,
We had,
other than Congregate. Congregate is not on this list. These are people
well,
we are
as of
touching
today, we
in
have
the community
$184,000.
with home-based services, personal care,
We had,
home delivered meals, transportation,
Okay.
and commodity program.
417, I think it was, at the end of December. I'm not quite sure on that, but we had 133,000 for the parking lot that we had to, our parking lot was falling apart. We had to get it fixed, so we paid that in January.
That's all home-based.
The commissioners applied for a grant, and you guys received a grant
We're touching out with
of about
Yeah, we
$350,000.
used, we got all that.
What was it used for?
It was used for extra meals. It was used for, we got fire blankets. We had fire blankets, we did fire extinguishers, we had
The iPad training?
iPad training, we got iPads for them, we trained them on that.
handicap equipment, we did home repairs.
All kind of handicap equipment, we put in, handicap bathrooms, showers, ramps,
You
all
put
kind
the-
of handicapped equipment
Where? Where was this stuff put in at?
in their homes,
Okay.
Yeah, at their home,
at their homes,
all throughout Ross County.
yeah. And we had like the fire department came out and they did training on the fire safety, and we gave out fire extinguishers, fire,
Alarm.
Pads.
Good.
Smoke detectors.
Yeah.
Smoke detectors.
yeah. So,
We did a
and,
cool down program in the summer, we gave away fans.
Because
Yeah.
we applied for that grant, and we were taking, that grant could be possibly used for Adelphia and Bainbridge, to get them started back up again.
but nobody told us that, and I sent reports into the state every Porter, and they said we did an awesome job with what.
You know, that's not one of the reasons that we said that.
Well,
We
we
applied
didn't-
for that grant.
We didn't know that.
Did you put the stipulations on it?
We said something about it to the senior citizens about this, what this grant is possibly gonna be for Adelphia and Bainbridge.
We never got that, we never got that in.
Okay.
Is there any of that grant money left, the Healthy Aging grant?
No, we
Oh,
had
no,
to
it had to
use,
be spent.
it was all used by September the 30th,
Yeah.
and a report was sent in.
I think we just need to do a better job talking to each
So,
other. And that-
so you think that Bainbridge is gonna go out on their own?
That's what they're
That's what
saying.
they're,
Is Frankfurt on their own?
Frankfurt doesn't, they just have like, little get-togethers, this is more like a little club.
A little club in Frankfurt, they get together.
They get to go out, cause I know they have
They couldn't
carry-ins and
get
stuff like
15
that.
people come to get a meal. I was up in that area, so I just moved out of it, but they couldn't get 15 people to come every day. So they just have little meetings and bingo and carrying lunches or their,
Cause I know that I know they have carry-in lunches and and somebody said they were independent and no longer.
They did that a long time
Yeah,
ago.
okay. I don't
we
think.
can't afford to put one in every township.
Right.
I mean, there's just not enough money to do that. But we'll try to work on things a little better.
I think we just talking to each other and understanding where you're at, and it'll really help to start with the contract stuff, but, yeah, I'm glad we had this car, like, I think this is a good opportunity for us both to move
That's
forward
what
in
I
a better
told
way.
Janet this morning, I said, you know, you guys are new and we're new to work with you and you're new to work with us. Like I said, we have always had a great relationship with the county offices and the county officials, and we want to continue to do that. And if there's
We'll
something
do our
that
part
you
in
want.
communicating better with you.
And you guys need to come out and
Yeah,
visit
come
us
see us
sometime.
sometime.
I love
You know,
that.
years ago, all the commissioners and the auditor, they just would stop out for lunch. They would just, anytime we had a Christmas party or Thanksgiving dinner, they would come.
Help serve.
George is the
Don't
only.
I did it a couple
You did.
times.
I did that too when I read
And
the
George
mail.
is the only one that, he comes out, he brings his deputies out and they help serve lunch and.
He
You
told me
guys
that,
can
he
do it
told me
too.
the day after he had served, well, you didn't come out to serve, and I said, well, you didn't tell me.
Communication. Communication.
No, I'm interested in participating in some of those things, but,
Yeah, you're welcome to go on a home delivered mail route too, if you'd like to go see what we see.
yeah, I would like that, actually.
We're out in places that you wouldn't believe still exist.
Yeah.
How many miles did they do last
It's
year?
on their paper
Oh,
up there,
127,360 miles.
yeah.
It's been a blessing to me.
Good, good. I'm sure there's stories like that throughout. But we need to do our part to make sure that we're on the same page, and it's our job on the taxpayer side of it. So we want to be good stakeholders and good partners to you all, and I think that starts with making sure we're all on the same page.
I'm glad you came in today. I learned a lot this morning.
we are too.
Absolutely.
All right.
Any of you ever need to talk to us again, you're welcome to come to our place.
Okay.
That's a little bit more handy for my people. And that's why a few of them weren't here today. They've been in the hospital and weren't able to do the walking and the stairs, so there was two that.
Do you have a copy of this contract that was signed by the senior citizens of the county commissioner?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I do, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
I would like to abide by everything that's in this contract.
Yes, sir.
Do that.
So far, 4 years I've been here, there's nothing in this contract that's ever came to me.
Well, there's always been an annual audit.
Annual,
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
And when we come down to do the budget, yes.
Okay.
But the rest of it in here, no.
Well, I'll be out to visit with you.
Please, you're always welcome.
I was out there when I was running for mayor, I remember that.
Yes,
and
you were.
served dinner, yeah, so.
Let's go sure.
That's been a while.
Let's go sure elderly.
Because I'm elderly. You're not far behind, buddy.
I'm right behind, I'm there.
We got the bump over
I've got some
here.
time on it.
Build.
All right, well, thank you so much for
Well, thank
coming this
you.
morning, we appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank you.
communicating with us. Anybody in board members got anything you want to ask or anything?
Charity, one important thing about when we serve food, they're bringing their own food in.
Adelphia.
Oh, yeah. That
Adelphia
was an
brings
issue.
their own in the cars.
Yeah,
They were sad about it.
yeah. There were several issues that we had up there with the management at the time, but if we get them back to serving anything, that we'll have to be very stringent about what they can and can't do, because they were putting food, that leftover food that had to be discarded according to the food, the health department. They were putting it in Tupperware containers and taking it and dropping it off to people, which I'm not a wasteful person, and I would do that on my own, but you can't do that with the food that we serve.
Okay.
You can't take it and just say, here's a home delivered meal for you, we had food left over today.
This is why it's important to listen to both sides.
Yes, yes,
All right, we thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's good trying to use this race card for Gary to get the stickers.
This Cadillac don't run too fast like it used to.
That's all right, Gary.
Got
At least
old
you
and fell
try.
apart.
At least you try.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
I'm big old, but.
Spells Tosh.
Thank you, ladies.
And then there's me.
Are you relations?
Well, I have an uncle named Roger, but he's not from around here.
Okay. I kept looking at your name and I thought, does he look like Roger?
Probably not the same Roger, but.
He died at the funeral home.
Oh, no, different family. Yeah, different family.
I think he got everything.
You're very welcome. It's a warm in here.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Once you get to realize what you do, you'll be very surprised.
No, I'm excited. I appreciate the work you guys do already.
We're all in goodies.
Good.
Long time no see. How you
I know.
doing? The other night?
We survived the weekend, didn't we?
That's it, we did.
Eric's mom.
Good to see you. Come out
Change your
anytime.
card.
Yeah,
I mean that, you come out
Gee,
anytime.
yeah, I'll connect with you guys.
Just walking out the door.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why didn't you do it?
They got a lot of questions after you guys get those contracts. This wasn't the appropriate venue for it, but they've nearly doubled their salaries by not the same amount of money outside of sites. You guys get those contracts, there's gonna have to be some follow-up.
What's this thing? Why would you double your salary?
This wasn't the day for it, I think you guys handled it right.
It's the same thing here. She said they got less than $200,000 in their account.
Yeah. They got some explaining. I know.
People are stupid,
I know.
Charlie.
And listen, today wasn't the day for it, so I think you guys did it the right way, but when you get those contracts, there's gotta be some follow-up on it.
Yeah, I just said, they knew, when we applied for that grant money.
Yep, I remember, I was there.
They were told, we're gonna use this grant money for Adelphia and Bainbridge to get this back on the
Yep.
street.
I was right there.
It's $350,000 or something like that.
Well, we waited George out, so I guess you guys, you're more patient than George. He finally got fed up and left.
Came to realize a long time ago, if I wasn't as patient as I am, I'd be dead, so.
That's actually a much truer statement than you even.
God, what do you know about me? Jesus.
I'm saying, I'm reflecting that myself.
The hell have you heard?
You know, the best way to grow patience is just to have so little of it that you're about to have a heart attack at an early age. So you start thinking, I better work on my patience or I'm gonna be gone.
All right, who's first here?
I've got a workers' comp case that I needed to go into executive session on with you guys.
All right. we
Just
need
briefly
Kathy.
to,
Have to go into our executive session. She's got.
Here she goes.
All right, hey, you get to play with the buttons. We're going into executive session.
I'll make a motion we go to.
just for a hot minute, just a,
Second.
it
All in
shouldn't be,
favor, say aye.
but 30 seconds to be honest.
10:38, we're going into executive session.
Did you already do this, Brad?
Brad, you know how